Hello, everyone. We are today starting the first session of the first season, at least the first episode of our Gurukul live session that's going on. So, we are very happy to have one of our very talented members of our team, of our family, who all of you know by the name of Muni Fakir, but actually his name is Shankhadeep Sengupta to reveal the actual name. And today we will hear from him, listen to him. He will explain a lot of things. I will leave it to him, what he says and what is Pull Up Your Own Strings event about and session about. So let's hear from Monida. Over to you.
Hello, everybody. Good evening to all of you, and thank you for joining this session. So, first of all, let me take your blessings to start this session and give a bow to my Guru, my mother, and Goddess Saraswati. Without their blessings, nothing is possible. So, my objective for today's session is to tell you very interesting stories to make you aware of certain facts about a beautiful instrument, a magical instrument called violin. So let me know if I'm audible and the instrument is visible to you clearly. Then it will be easier for me to tell you on the further on this. Okay, hi Indrani, hi Sabbasachi, hi Shubhajit, Rima. So basically, let me start with a small story. How violin has been evolved or introduced into this musical world. We need to take or cite an example from mythology, Indian mythology. So long back, at one point of time, two very notorious demons, Shum and Nishum, they were not beatable, and at that point of time, the gods are also unable to control them. They were about to conquer the heaven. So Lord Brahma sent Lord Vishnu to check about their strengths and weaknesses. Vishnu has taken a disguise of avatar called Hygrieve. Hy means nothing but horse. Grieve means the horse head, the body of a human with a horse head. And had been to there and checked, okay, these two demons are having two weaknesses. One is music, second is beautiful women. And he came back, he said that to Brahma, and Brahma told Chandi, okay, now this is your weapons, go, you can provoke them, you can hypnotize them with your music and kill them. So what Chandi was thinking at that point of time, all of a sudden she has seen some fibers are hanging from a tree log, and they were actually swinging in the air and giving a wind chime down of a beautiful sound. So at that point of time, she thought, okay, let me do one thing. She attached the other end of the fibers to another tree and started to pluck it in this manner. So it was giving a sweet sound, but not the resonance she was looking for. Then what she has done, she bent one cane, attached certain hair of from the neck of Hygrieve, and created a bow-like structure. And she was going like this. And it was giving a beautiful resonance. So two of the soldiers from Shumnishun said, sir, we have seen a beautiful woman playing excellent music on the top of a mountain. You deserve them, go and check with her. They went, they were hypnotized, and all of a sudden, they thought of proposing this lady to get married. And Durga was waiting for that instance, and she killed them. And that is where the first instance of violin created as per Indian mythology. Well, there is another take. Whenever men tried to get married, they got killed. Don't take it in other way. So that is why it's a pun intended. But nevertheless, even at later part of the time, another beautiful evolution stories there about violin. But before that, let me tell you about this instrument. Now, this instrument or any instrument, whenever we are looking for, we need to know about the structure of that instrument. We need to know how this instrument is tuned, and then how to hold that instrument and how to play that instrument. In our terminologies, in the terminologies, we call that Abhayav, Dharan, Bandhan, and Vadan. So that is how it goes. Let us take a closer look of this structure of violin. This is called scroll of a violin. At the end, and with the scroll, there are certain keys attached, which are used for attaching the strings and tuning. These keys are called pegs, and these pegs are housed in a small hollow wooden portion, top open, which is called peg box. Now, after this portion, This is what this portion is called, the neck of the violin, the longitudinal portion till this. It is called the neck of the violin. On top of neck, we are having fingerboard. Fingerboard is housing the strings. The strings are attached with the keys to the fingerboard by the help of another structure, wooden structure, which is called the bridge. Now, this bridge is carved like the fingerboard. So, it is creating a hypertension and it is giving you an option to play strings in a different manner. Suppose I am playing 4 strings in this way. So, my bow is not touching one string while the other is being played. That is why this curvature is very much important. And after this carved portion bridge, we are having a portion called tailpiece. This tailpiece is having 4 small screws. These screws are called fine tuners, and this is called chin rest. Now, when violin was introduced in Italy in the time of Renaissance in the 16th century and later, this chin rest wasn't there. Violin had a very funny structure. I'll show you some picture of it, how violin has been evolved. Let me know if it is visible. Are you able to see it? Okay. So see how the first structure of violin has come. This is what is the violin look like. Then this is how the violin shape has evolved. Initially it was looking like a pot, then it has having some length added, and that is how gradually it has gone with and evolved with the current violin structure what we are playing nowadays. Now, to tell you about the structure once more, very shortly take you through this. So what we have, the scroll, the peg box, the pegs, and this is called the fingerboard, neck, bridge, tailpiece, screws, and chin rest. Very important thing, this is the portion, the carved portion of a violin. This is called the lower bout. This is called the upper bout, and in between this is the crest we are having, which is called the waist of a violin, just like we are having our waist. And very importantly, there are 2 holes in the shape of Fs. It is called the F of. These are controlling your volume of the violin from this hollow wooden box with a small wooden log fixed to it, which is called sound post. So we cannot see it from the outside, but that is how a violin looks like. And the very more important part of playing a violin is nothing but the bow. So anybody, Shubhajit or Shobhochachi, Indrani, Jayatidi, anybody can tell, like, do you have any idea why it is called a bow? Ideally, as per our understanding, bow is nothing but a weapon. We have seen in multiple historical wars, even in our epics like Mahabharata, Ramayana. So why it is called a bow?
Yeah, I think because
Anybody has any clue?
bow, when there is a bow, there is a shape which has strings attached to it. And initially, if we see Indian instruments like from Rajasthan, there are quite a lot of instruments where the bow is actually the
exactly
bow. Yeah,
that is right. So ideally, the evolution of bow is like this. Have a look. At the initial days, when in the medieval century violins were introduced, it was having this bow as having the shape of just a bow used in our wars of fighting, or just like bow and arrow pulling. So at that point of time, the composers like Bach and many other people has written certain musical pieces which can only be played with that type of bow. Even in today's scenario, if certain concertos of Bach is being played, that has been played with this kind of bows. Now, in a bow, what we are having is, like, this is a bow here. Ideally, it is produced from the horse's tail here, and this is called the stick, a bow here. It's a grip. That is how we are holding a violin. Suppose I'm leaving it, it should fall if I'm holding it. So that my little finger is having a function. Hold it like this, leave it, hold it, leave it. It is working like a lever. So a grip, a bow here, a stick, and here is a fine end screw which is adjusting the tightness of the bow. And you won't believe that violin has been invented in India nowhere but Kolkata. In 1874, I have found an old book called Bahulin Tattva, which says that violin has been introduced in Kolkata. And it is giving the structure, everything as per the European structure with a Bengali synonym. And there clearly it has been written that while we are bowing a violin, they have called it nothing but Dhanush Chalana, which means we are actually holding the bow and just see the similarity. We are pulling the bow in this way. The way we are pulling an arrow from the bow and leaving, just imagine the action. You can see the same happening in this holding. Now, one funny, interesting story. Now, how is violin tuned? Any instrument is tuned with some science involved in it. Now, before I tell you how the tuning is happened for these four strings, violin is very much popular among all its brothers and sisters, like cello, like viola, like double bass, like octabass, many board instruments. Like we are having a similar kind of instrument in India called sarangi, called sarinda, and esraj, which are also board instruments. So basically, violin is very flexible in terms of creating the vocal ornamentations, which we call as mir, the glissando. As per Indian European standard, it is called glissando, and in Indian we call mir, and it can emulate human voice closest compared to anything else. That is where violin has given a popular choice to being used in multiple recordings while we are using it in the film industry or anywhere else. So for example, we know that honking of our taxi horns, the yellow taxis we are seeing in Kolkata, or the old ambassador horns, so it is following simple two notes of violin. One is G, another is B. So if I play together, it gives you a honking feel. So that is how it goes. Okay. And secondly, another interesting story. In our house, domestic culture, we have seen our senior people like mothers, our grandmothers, they are blowing conch shells in the evening. Shankho bajano hoy to, so we have seen that. So even that is following another frequency of violin. How we are having one note called A sharp in violin. If I sing this, that is how the conch shell has been blown. And the birds and the animals of nature are also following one frequency of violin. How? Let us see. Okay. We know how the cuckoo calls. Nowadays, they are calling at any point of time. So that is how cuckoo calls. They are calling at C sharp scale, and pitch is C sharp. And after that, that following a perfect chromatic note, la 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 la. That is how. So see, the music has been embedded within every action of nature, every birds, animals, and we are thinking we have produced this instrument, we have invented it, we are tuning it. Now coming back to the tuning of violin, it is having four strings. The first string is called G. I'm pulling one of the strings called G. Nothing. If you are thinking sa re ga ma from the scale of G, la 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 la. If sa is your G, what is your pancham? La 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 la. Fifth note, G A B C D. Okay. So D is the pancham, and second string is tuned at D. If I am taking D as sa, what is your pancham? D, E, F, G, A. A is the first string, and if I'm taking A as your first note or saraj, then what is pancham or fifth note? A perfect fifth, E. So we are having four strings G, D, A, E. Even those who play guitar, they can also see the same frequency has been set with two more additional strings. So that is how a violin is tuned. Now we know about the structure. We know about what violin strings are tuned at, and let us know how holding of violin happens. It's very important. Suppose I'm holding it in this manner. I have to keep my hand away from it. I'm fixing it with my chin so that it is fixed. And I'm raising the bow in this manner, and I'm just bowing it without holding the violin. Now, the moment my hand is here, what I need to do, I need to put my hand in a manner. If this is my palm, I'm putting my palm in a way that the palm is the mirror and I can see my face. So this is how the violin has been held, and I'm able to see my face, and it is moved in this manner. So it is going like this, la 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 la. How far it can go? Let us see with the demo. Okay, suppose I'm playing a note like this. Okay. Oh, beautifully. Some kakus are calling. They have heard this tune. It seems like outside. I can hear the tune. Being okay. And if I'm sliding my hand, it should be. So that is how it is slidden down to the last octave. So we can play even 3 octaves in violin, which you cannot play in any board instrument, provided it is tuned as per the Western methodology. Otherwise, in Indian, we are having pasa, pasa. That is how 4 strings are done, having a little bit of limitations, and also they are holding it in this manner. So the swinging angle is bit little lesser and not flexible. That is how we are having a better way of holding the violin on our shoulder and play. Now, while talking about playing, so instead of telling how a violin is being played, I'd like to play something for you and give a demonstration. Give me a minute. So how many of you are a big fan of Sudhin Dasgupta? A beautiful, a brilliant composer, right? And he has created many magical musics. So tell me, what is your choice? You want to go for Sudhin Dasgupta or Salil Chaudhary? I'll go by that. I give to the audience. Okay, let me pick Sudhin Dasgupta. It's very rare that we are not hearing his songs nowadays most of the time. And there is a movie, Bengali movie called Shankho Bela. And this movie has been a super hit because of one specific song. It's a super hit movie sung by Lata Mangeshkar. Let us have this song with us and see how violin is being played. Okay, let me attach the speaker to it so that you can. Okay. Okay. Audible? that is how we are playing a violin. What is very much important while we play violin, that we need to think how the holding of the bow is happening, how the bow pressure is being applied, and how, see, first of all, whose right hand and left hand in any instrument are moving in sync from your brain, that person can play instrument very nicely. This is an instrument where your right hand is playing a very much importance. Like a bowing can give a different feeling to any playing. Just have an example. I'm playing with a simple bowing of any scale. Say I'm playing Saregama from the scale of T. Fine. Now see, I'm changing my bowing. So the tonality and everything is changing, and the bow pressure I'm using and the bow technique I'm using, everything is giving a different edge to it. So if anybody wants to learn this instrument, they can think of purchasing it, go for tutorials, understand how it is going, and they can start. It's beautiful. This instrument is very close to human heart, and that is how it has been called. So even doctor is present over there. I have read in certain articles that they say that the average life of violinists are more than anybody else because their heart is having a good condition. They are playing an instrument very close to their heart. It could be a myth. I really don't know whether it's medically proven or not, but that is how it's being said. And more importantly, that your sitting posture, your holding, how you are playing this instrument, how you are connecting yourself this instrument, and that is how your well-being is also related. So anybody interested in later part of the time, they can pick up an instrument and they can play for it. So that is where all of, I mean, I wanted to just cover everything, but still, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be happy to answer. I would so far whatever I have covered on this. Then I have a very nice demo after that. So I just wanted to capture your views on this. Any questions, any queries, could be a layman's query, need not to be a technical one. Just let me know, I'll be happy to answer on that. Okay, so now coming to another interesting point which Subhuti has mentioned, there is a bonus. In worldwide, there are multiple violin makers who are very famous. Those who have read Bengali literature, I am seeing most of the Bengali people here, of Satyajit Ray in one of the movies called, I forgot that movie name, okay, most probably Bosh Pukure Khun Kharapi. So he has mentioned about one violin maker called Amati, and that is how he has funnily given the name Amatir Bhepu. So we are having multiple makers of violin, famous worldwide, high priced, invaluable. It cannot be equated with the price of a money. And it starts with Micheli, then Bartolotti, Maggini, Amati, Stradivari. That is what Shobhit is having, one of the prized and precious possessions. Shobhit, can you show how Stradivari shows and can tell the price of a Stradivari actually? It's a copy, I know. Yeah.
Yeah. So little bit history about this one. When I thought of having this instrument, since I was interested to purchase it. Most of you will already know that I have a collection of a lot of instruments. So when I thought of purchasing a violin, I initially thought of purchasing this. So this one is the Stradivari. Although I think it's a copy, but still it's very valuable. Here I can later on I will post the year. 1713 it's mentioned. So this violin was not in this situation. So when I bought this one, it was not polished and no strings were there. So I had to polish it, and I had attached the strings. And if you see, the size is a little smaller. So it was a half size violin. The person from whom I bought this was actually an Italian lady based out of Melbourne only. And when I asked her, why are you selling this off? She is a professional performer. So she said that she is selling this off for a reason, because in her family, no one other than her plays this violin. I mean, this is not actually suitable for her. When she was a kid, she used to play this. So half-size violins are not full size for adults to play. A kid starts playing, there are a lot of sizes. I think Monida will say it later what are the sizes things. So when I purchased this, she said that you can start off with this one. I just purchased and fixed the strings here. So yeah, this is the Stradivarius one. So if you can see, I don't think you will be able to see in the camera, but here in this
Yeah, I mean it's mentioned within the hollow box with a stamp. And the
yeah,
funny thing is, even if you get your violin repaired multiple times to different mechanics or whoever are the people who are doing it, they will not tamper this stamp. It's a basic etiquette everybody maintains, irrespective of whatever it may go. Now, what happens is Calcutta is famous for violin making as well as repairing. Every year, legends of India who have proved themselves in the world in front of everybody, like Dr. N. Rajam, also Dr. L. Subramaniam, and even at some point of time, some musicians from the group of Ilayaraja and A.R. Rahman, they come to Kolkata to a specific family member who has the legacy of repairing the violin of E.D. Menuhin. You know, heard of the famous violins E.D. Menuhin. So long back, what happened? E.D. Menuhin has come down to Kolkata for a performance and was staying in Raj Bhavan. At that point of time, his violin has certain problem. One guy told, "We are having one guy called Mondolda. Call that Mondolda." The Mondolda came, and that person has repaired, and he was ecstatic. Okay, guys, your skill is so good. Tell me what you want, sir. I don't want any money. It's my honor that I have served you. At that point of time, E.D. Menuhin has given him 2 lakhs of rupees and with one certificate. That certificate is still there. If you go to Kolkata, even in Bara Bazar, not the Bara Bazar, in our Lal Bazar police area, they are having one Mondolan Sons 2 to 3 shops where the certificate has been printed, it is laminated and displayed. It's an honor for them, and that is that one big violinist, a big musician, a master has come down to Kolkata and repaired. And every year, many people come to them who are legends. And you know how much they're charging for repairing their violin? Sometimes as lower as 30 rupees, 40 rupees, 50 rupees, 100, not more than that. These guys are telling, man, our to and fro spending and coming down staying, it is costing us around 30-40,000 bucks, and you are just charging 30-40 rupees. Just charge something. So, sir, we can't do that. Whatever we have done, I'll charge for it. We are not greedy people. So they starve, but they don't charge like exorbitantly like other people. And that is where we are proud of our city, our state, that we are having a legacy like this. So that's what, I mean, so a small story about the violin I'm playing. It is actually 200-year old, almost. How? I'm telling you, during freedom movement, my two of my own grandfather and his brother, like my mother's uncle, both are prisoned. They were the freedom fighters, and during that imprisonment, British government has told that you guys are good to go for any kind of further education, extracurricular activities. To let us know what you would go for. So my mom's dad has gone for learning medicines, homeopathic medicines, and my mother's uncle has said, I wanted to learn violin. So the British people has bought it for him. It is having a mark of Hoft. So earlier, when I started playing violin, it was lying in my mama body, my maternal house. One day I've been there, I've recovered it, got it recovered, and playing. So while the repairing was done, one of the guys who did it from this Mandal family told, "Are দাদা কোথায় পেলেন? এ তো প্রায় 200 বছরের পুরনো." I mean, that point of time, that violin has come from somewhere in the Europe or UK. It is marked as Hoft. So it is 200-year old. Even if you are getting lakhs of money, don't sell it because it is invaluable, priceless. So that is how. So please give respect to your instrument, he said. Irrespective of playing anything, keep it clean. Otherwise, you will not be able to value the price of this instrument by the money you have paid for repairing or anything. So that is how I got this. Now coming to a small musical demo. Okay, so I'm seeing very talented musicians, many singers are present here. For example, let us take one small basic raga which we all know, which is a Carnatic raga called Bhupali. What we know that in Bhupali you are having 2 notes missing. What? Ma and Ni. No money, Gorib rag. So that is how it is being played in multiple village areas. Jokes apart, it is having a very nice characteristics. Why? Suppose in plain land, if we are stepping, we are having even ways of walking down the street. But in hilly areas, we are having a step missing, go, step missing. So that missing feeling is actually giving it a feel. That is where two notes are being missing and it's being played in this manner. Now, why I'm talking about this specific raga, I'll tell you. Just let me just have a play of this swars of this raga. In Western, we call it a pentatonic major scale. Now, if I am fusing it in this way, we all know that in this specific raga, the Vadi Sar is Gandhar. And even in Western music, there is a famous world music which has been created by keeping this Gandhar as Vadi Sar with added ma to it. Just listen to it. I'll play it for you and you'll be amazed how it has been done. So that is all from my side today. We have spoken about the structure of a violin. We have spoken about the history of violin. We have spoken about how a violin is tuned, held, manufactured, different makers. We have spoken about how a violin can emulate the sound of nature and its creatures, and we have certain stories about it. So that is what from my side. If you are having any questions, you can throw, or we can wrap it up once everybody is okay with it. Thank you for listening to me patiently. We may have certain more sessions. It's a vast topic, cannot be covered in a short span, but this is just an introduction. If you like this instrument, if you have felt any attraction towards it, please grab it, learn, play, and you will see the difference that how your life is changed. Those who are musically attached, those who can sing, when singers play instrument, they excel like anything, I'm telling you, because whenever instrumentalists are playing anything, they are singing it mentally from their side. So any singer, if they wanted to be an instrumentalist, a violinist, they can pick it up, learn, and will be happy to know about it. See your performance in tunes in later days. That's all. Thank you, a bow from your Monida Shankodi, and thank you for listening me out patiently and giving your time.
Yeah. Only the one small question. Two things I think we should cover. One is one is about the sizes, the various size, one half size, 2/3 size, and the cost of Stradivari and its copy. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question too. Can I ask now?
Yeah. Yes, Srimay, please.
Oh yeah, Monida, it's a wonderful session, and I think many of the people will be help with your history and your things. Can you tell us something about how to tune a violin, or if somebody can do it himself or herself? Or
definitely, that's a very important thing. So nowadays, violin, I mean, I have covered a part of it before you join. So first of all, violin tuning. If you are fixing the strings, suppose you don't know how to fix it, there is a way of fixing it. I am not on dismantling it at this point of time. I'm taking a scenario when the strings are fixed, your violin is detuned and you want to tune it. So I'm showing you one device which is available everywhere, or even there are certain mobile apps which are giving you a tuner. See this is called a violin tuner. There are different shapes, makes available, and it's driven by battery. You can see the light. So what is happening is you need to just fix and attach it to the scroll, the end part of it, and either you can pull it, okay, the light will be blinking. If 4 strings first string is tuned at G, second is at D, third is at A, fourth is at E. I told you how, because G, if I'm taking G as my first tonic note or Sadaj or Sa, then my fifth note is D. G, E, F, D, sorry, G, F, A, B, C, D. D is my pancham. From D, if I'm taking D as my first note, my pancham is A. D, E, F, G, A. And if I'm taking A as my first note, the pancham is E. A, B, C, D, E. So how the four strings, the first string, which is having little bit of bass fill of playing. This is G, next one is D, then next one is A and E. If suppose I'm giving a demo, then I'm just detuning my violin a little bit. Okay, I'm taking the string of D from where I've tuned. Okay, it is giving me some weird sound. You are getting the current sound. Now I'll tune it to the frequency it deserves. Okay, let me just do it in this manner. Still it is down. Okay, I'm taking little bit more effort. Little improved. It is reaching to the frequency of D. Now it has reached. You see, now it is playing the instrument. So that is how violin is tuned. Nowadays, you need not to buy any tuner. There are very good mobile apps like Guitar Tuner or any other in the either if you're using iPhone or you can get it in the Google Store. So that is how a violin has been tuned, and you need to learn by yourself. First of all, my suggestion to you is, while tuning an instrument, initially try not to use any additional device. Like for example, if it is a tuner externally attached to it, or maybe a mobile tuner, rather depend on your ears. If you have any keyed instrument at your home, maybe a harmonium, maybe a piano or keyboard, if you have tanpura, play it, register that frequency in your mind and try to tune it. Initial days, you will be facing some problem in terms of accuracy, no problem. But once you are accurate, you will see at some point of time, don't need a tuner. There is no better tuner than your ear and your mind. Please keep it in your mind. That's all. So Srimati, does that answer your question? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thanks a lot for the information.
Okay. Yeah, Shubhajit, you were talking about the size and what something else you told. I may have missed out.
Cost of a Stradivarius original and the duplicate, means copy one.
Okay, but actually nowadays the duplicate of Stradivarius may be costing around 2,000, 3,000 US dollar. Even it's the cheapest one. Shubhajit has got it at a very lesser price. That is very unusual. But actual cost is running in lakhs. Sometimes it is very close to crores. That's why we are telling it is invaluable. There is another violin maker called Stainer. Even in Kolkata, you won't believe. In today's scenario, Kolkata is having such precious violins. I have seen people selling a violin having 18 to 20 pieces. It has broken into pieces, kept in some room, locker room or somewhere, and some store room. That guy is a drunkard to buy liquor. He is selling his great grandfather's violin to somebody at the price of 2,000, 4,000, 5,000. Do you believe something running in crores being sold? So one of the guy who is one of the family members of these makers, and they have just picked it, one violin, have shown me 18 pieces and called me after 1 month and told me, can you identify? Not a single broken line could have been identified. And that is how one day this guy has been called in A.R. Rahman's music school in Madras. A big cello was broken into 5 to 6 pieces. Not only one, there are multiple cellos. It was kept in a music room and the wall-mounted rack has been fallen into it. So he has been called, he went there. He told, you guys told 5 cellos, there are only 4. Where is the other? Oh, that is damaged beyond repair. It is being given to the, that fire panel. Fire panel, is it already burned or it's still there? No, it's there. Well, let me see. There is no problem. I can repair it. Give me 2 weeks. And he just made the entire cello together. Rahman has given him certification on stage saying that I haven't seen such a repairman in my life. Salute your city and your skill. I mean, I hope you would have institutionalized this. Otherwise, this is going to get lost with your family being washed away. and that is how we are having heritage. We're not taking any pride out of it. Well, on the sizes, I have shown you something like the first size that has been evolved was 10 inches, then 12 by 13, then 13, then 15 by 16. Now what we are using is 16 by 18, the standard size. I mean, how many of you have seen a chambers orchestra? Can you raise your hand? Then it will be easier for me. Or let me know if you know what exactly a chambers orchestra is. It's nothing but a kind of an ensemble. In Indian instruments, we have a heritage and culture of playing solos with certain accompanying instruments, or maybe maximum quartet or duos or trios. But in European countries or other Western countries, they have a culture of playing multiple instruments, and 60, 70 in one stage. And we have seen, we have seen the Frank Sinatra Orchestra, we have seen the orchestra of Yanni, we have seen the orchestra of Andre Rieu, we have seen the orchestras of David Garrett and Jean-Luc Ponty, they are having. So even, I mean, Zubin Mehta, another name, I must name him, that he has having Itzhak Perlman, their orchestra. So how it is happening? I'm telling you the structure, very simple. At the middle, a pianist is sitting. Suppose this is the piano kept, you are facing the piano. So at the left hand side of the piano, violin section, right hand side of the piano, viola, cello, and double bass. Now, what is a viola? A bigger violin. What is a cello? Something is being played, keeping the rest head on the ground. You remember one famous Bengali movie, Golpo Holo Shotti? That is why Bhanu Bandyopadhyay was playing cello. And all of a sudden, one of his nephews came, Kaka, kichu bajano western. Bole, Bach shunbi, Bach. And that is how he started playing like this. So see, Tapan Sinha has used this instrument long back in our Bengali movies to give, that point of time, cello was not that much popular. We never knew, we didn't have YouTube, anything at that point of time. And there is double bass. It is being played like this. Two people are playing at some point of time. It is too big. Once the string section is over, the next row is having all woodwinds, flute, English flute, even your cornetto, your bassoon, oboe, all that woodwind instrument which can be played with your blow is being there. Next is coming your brass section. Brass, tuba, saxophone, everything, whichever is falling under brass section, that is your third layer. And the last layer is having a big instrument called tuba and a big drum. You have seen this drum in Bengali, call it joydhak, they call it a kettle drum or timpani. So they are playing like this. Imagine a composer has written a music of 60 lines. I am a tuba player. My line comes at the 58th instance, and after I played it in the 11th line. So I have to still patiently wait for 40 lines and wait for my turn. If I do a mistake, the conductor is conducting and giving a pointing towards me, entire orchestra will be disturbed. So much of attention and patience is needed for a chambers orchestra for each and every player, and that is how they are practicing it. For before any concert, they are leaving their house, staying in an apartment. For all the players who are playing or taking participation, staying together, practicing, just to keep the rapport, internal rapport, building friendship. Otherwise, they cannot play together in the stage, and on the stage, if somebody is doing a mistake, other cannot recover it. So that is how a chamber orchestra look like. Thank you very much. That is all from my side. Any more questions? I am ready to answer.
I think we'll take 2 minutes to see if any questions are there, or we'll finally wrap up.
Yep.
Shantadi wants to ask something, but she has no audio.
Shantadi, bolo. Shantadi's volume mute হয়ে গেছে. I think it's muted all of a sudden.
Shantadi, your volume is mute. একবার মোবাইলটা টাচ করে মাইক্রোফোন আইকন আছে, ওইটাতে টাচ করো, রেড আইকনটা। Unmute হয়নি। So probably, I think if anyone has any other questions, I think that you can take that, or maybe offline. Shubharoop has some question. Yeah.
Is audible?
Yeah, Shubharu, please.
জাস্ট একটা জিনিস জিজ্ঞাসা করতে চাই যে মানে কোনো মিউজিক শুনে
Hmm.
মানে কোন রাগের সেটা কি করে মানে বলতে গেলে হোয়াট ইজ দ্য বেস্ট প্র্যাকটিস? ইটস আউট অফ
Okay,
দ্য বক্স
there is.
কোশ্চেন।
Okay, fine. So there is one expert present in this call, that Srimoy, who can answer. But I mean, how I do is, like, first of all, you know that, and one of the music is having some notes. Okay, now if you know the notes, if you know how the notes have been moved, and if you know that how these notes are being placed, and you can relate it. Okay, you know, for certain ragas, for example, this is one what I have played, the song আজ মন চেয়েছে আমি হারিয়ে যাব. This is purely composed on the raga Bilabal. And some point of time, if we are having another raga called Shivaranjini, a very famous song. So depending on the mood, depending on the notes used, and your ears accustomment towards the orientation towards Indian classical music, you can very much tell. Now, this is what a layman should do. Technically, what can be done, I just request Srimoy to talk on this, and she may have better view on this to identify, give some certain pointers toward it. Srimoy, over to you. Oh, I think you are on mute, Srimoy. Not a problem. Shurup, so do one thing. Suppose you pick up one song. You try to understand what are the notes. You know how to play harmonium. I have seen you playing it. So you play those notes and try to recall or relate it to the ragas you know. If you are thinking, okay, this is very close to this raga, these swords are there, then you check whether the chalan of that raga, the movement of that raga notes are matching with the movement of this. If you see it is, then you can tell, okay, this is based on this raga. But if you see some of the modern songs are having a mix and match of multiple ragas, it is very difficult to tell that it is following one specific raga structure. So, but certain raga songs are composed on specific raga. For example, that you know that raga called Hambir or Hamir. We have very one-known song, Madhuban Mein Radhika Nache Re. So the chalan is very much identifiable. So that is how we can identify it.
Oh, great.
Okay. Thank you, Shubharu.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think for any other questions, if anyone else has, once we post this in our YouTube channel, in our new channel, we'll have a playlist called Gurukul, and anyone can reach out to Shankhoda from our page, from our group, and he will be more than happy to answer any of the queries. And we'll have this kind of sessions more. This was an introductory one for the first season, episode 1, and we'll have more of these sessions. So thank you so much, Shankhoda, for explaining and having a great session, which we really enjoyed. Everyone is really valued at. I think everyone has learned a lot of things. We learned many things, even the storytelling on a lot of mythological characters. Those things were also really very good. The history, the research, and all stuff were really too good. I think everyone will like it, and we'll have this posted in YouTube very soon, and we'll share the link in our page as well as our group.
Definitely to all the team members and the audience present today, above from my side. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.